Hi, everybody, and welcome to the RHAP B&B for the premiere of Survivor 46. My name is Mike Bloom, and holy frijoles, we've got a lot to talk about. The 2-hour premiere of Survivor 46 has aired. There is so much to get into. I was there. I rewatched it in all of its glory, and we are here breaking it all down with an equally glorious panel. Let me welcome him in. First, someone who is going to be carrying this podcast throughout the season like a 500-pound gecko, the biggest one you've seen in your life. Is it Liana Boraas? Because we know your mother is a fan of lizards.
She is. Nowhere near the size, nowhere near as goofy as well as seeing 18 grown adults just hauling ass with the biggest gecko we've ever seen. I'm like almost speechless for this episode. Like, what even happened from the Andy Griffith little like do moment to everything with Jelinski? Just, it feels like such a weird fever dream. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to talk it through today.
Oh, and even more exciting is the guest that we are having. I feel like I drew the skull card because I am deceased getting to talk with this person who is no stranger to CBS reality TV. We saw her on our screens this summer in Big Brother 25, but here she is talking about something that she'd actually talk about for a good amount in the Big Brother house as well, talking Survivor. Izzy Gleicher from Big Brother 25. Welcome to the B&B.
Listen, that's why it says beware. Okay. Yeah, I'm stoked to talk Survivor. I can talk Survivor forever. I love this. Let's get into this. And this premiere was, I think, spectacular. I would say off the charts. It checked all the boxes. Like good TV, good game.
I mean,
well, okay, but like good game comes with like also like the worst. You can't have the best without defining what the worst is. So we've got our boundaries set.
Well, I want to start with actually your upper boundaries, I should say, of Survivor. Because again, those of us that followed Big Brother 25 knew that one of the many reasons why you became an unofficial member of the Fields family is because of your love of Survivor. What is your history with the fandom? When did you start getting into the show?
Well, so now everyone's going to come at me like they did about me saying I watched Big Brother like a bunch of times before going on the show, which is true. I was unemployed. The premiere was pushed back a month. Okay. I had nothing to do. Anyway, but I only started watching Survivor in 2020 because my beautiful fiance Paige was like, we're stuck inside. And she was like, I honestly can't believe you've never seen Survivor. Like, you're going to love Survivor. She was like, you're going to freak out over Survivor. And so that's when I started watching.
Amazing. So did you start with like this season's on Netflix, or was it just like, oh, we're going to jump in with whatever season's coming up?
I don't know. So all of my journeys have been non-linear. In my art, I love non-linear storytelling. So like I'm very in for like, revealing things at bad times, Anyway, I was like, I don't know, being stubborn or like being a jackass or something. And I was like, okay, well, how many seasons? And I was kind of making fun of that a little bit. I was a skeptic, And so I was like, well, my favorite number is 33. What's that season? And then Paige was like, actually, we love Michaela and we love Zeke. Okay, let's watch 33. And so that's what I started with. And then we watched 34 right after. So that's the first season. I know Survivor people, I think they'll find this interesting, but that's the first season of Cerise that I watched. Was Game Changer.
Oh. And you're like, oh, this poor woman. Surely this must be the worst thing that happens to her in her Survivor career.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then we went back and yeah.
I mean, listen, let me first of all, I've said this before, like, let's never shame, people's histories with the fandom. It doesn't matter when you watch it. It just matters when, that you watch it in general. The other thing is that, Izzy, listen, I went out there, I talked with 18 of these people. A fair amount started when you did. A good amount were actually through multiple sort of causeways here. Not only people that started watching during the pandemic, but also people that got in through their significant others who were like, oh, you should probably watch this show, Survivor. So you're not too dissimilar from these 18 lovable weirdos that are on our screen.
Keep saying that, Mike. The sand would feel good in between my toes.
Maybe not the sand on Yanu Beach, considering it's filled with broken glass.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, but we haven't even gotten there yet.
That's great. I love that. So then do you have like what do you look for in a Survivor season then? Like, what are the seasons that are your favorites? What is it that makes you tick when it comes to Survivor?
That's interesting. I think like I ultimately like really I look for like people that are really going to stand out and like do things that are surprising. Like I like that, and I like the contrast. I don't like necessarily care about like perfect games or things like that. Maybe that's because like that obviously would never be my style. Like I don't think I could pull that off, you know? But like I like people that go for it and then know how to recover, you know? And I hate the like old school like cult leader kind of, you know, like hashtag faithful kind of way of playing, like you know, there's a right way to play Survivor, that kind of like the moral weaponizing. I hate that. So that's like usually like a turnoff for me in a Survivor season. And I, of course, I mean, I love strong women. I like seeing people that are unexpected do really, really well. And yeah, I mean, I guess those are like kind of the things that I like. Maybe that's like not as specific and Survivor trivia nerdy that you're looking for. But
no, I think that's great.
The thing is, though, you're talking about checking those boxes. I feel like the criteria listed off got a fair amount of them in this episode. A lot of hardcore, dirty gameplay. Saw a bit of a rise in a women's alliance on one tribe. So there was a little bit of everything. And you would think on paper, like, oh my God, 2 hours for one round of Survivor for 3 days. Are we stretching this out? But I will say this many times, thank God for David Jelinski, because this man almost single-handedly filled a 2-hour episode of Survivor with the most eventful first 3 days I have ever seen across hundreds of Survivor contestants.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. But also I will say with the extra time, also just in the episodes, I'm enjoying getting to see in the new era a little bit more just like camp life and like social dynamics. Cause I feel like I was missing that in like 41 through 45 a little bit, you know, like 45, I think got a little bit more because of the longer episodes, but like, I feel like this episode had a lot of that. Like I feel like I understand the social structure of every tribe like really well already. And that's like very exciting because usually it's like you only find that out from the losing tribe. And then it takes you how many episodes to get to know, you know, the tribes that are winning. So I also think like that's been an excellent addition.
Yeah. And also this gave us, I think, we knew something about every single cast member by the time we left this episode. Even people like Liz has a random confessional about her being allergic to everything. You know, Randon has his random moments. So yeah, Liana, it really does feel like Jeff has come in. I've said it as well on paper that like this cast is off the wall. And so I'm glad that they provided enough material and gave them the time to really take that plane off.
Totally.
It did not feel like 2 hours. I mean, you know, in the like, it's 2 hours. It was 2 hours and then it was done. And even the Jelinski stuff aside, I felt like there was so much more meat. I totally agree with what Izzy's saying in terms of getting to know the dynamics on all the tribes, where everybody sits, who's starting to build relationships with whom, like all of that is really coming together. And I love being able to see that right in that first episode, because I think we do so much preseason coverage, right? And we talk about like, oh, who's going to be aligned with who. To actually see it play out is like, oh my God, I'm watching my fan fiction happen. You know what I mean? Like that's always just so enjoyable.
Also, like, don't you kind of agree that now we have a whole new intro segment? Like they have to play Tevin's monologue like every season.
I know that it's it needs to be the national anthem of Survivor now.
It's like turn ancient voices down,
turn
Tevin up, and it's like this beautiful scene. Anyway, it's amazing.
Listen, here's the thing. When the preseason stuff came out, I took a few licks. I'll admit, people are like, Mike Bloom fell in love with this guy on the island. I don't understand why. You just had to listen to the first minute of this episode. I'm like, now you understand. Now you got a little bit of that Tevin magic in your nose. The spice melange is flowing, and you were having those trippy ass dreams from it.
Definitely a front runner for sure, Tevin.
Well, and I think also what was so surprising is, you know, because obviously it starts, you don't see him, you just hear the voiceover. I'm like, is it who is that? Who is this? Like, because it's like written. It was like it was written for him. I don't know how he came up with that out there. So impressed. And then he's just been such a fun character already as well. So I'm really like excited about him.
We have so much to get into, but Liana, I mean, I just want to get your general thoughts, because you are buzzing when you sat down here. Not to look too much behind the curtain, but you know, we're talking on a Monday night. You've had a long day at work. You kind of rushed into this, but I think that reflects the kind of like frenetic eagerness that all 18 people went into this season with.
Yes, exactly. And I think like ordinarily we would be, I mean, obviously we're talking about Jelinsky, we're talking about the headline, we're talking about what happens on Purple, right? So obviously that's what we're discussing. But then I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, like there's so much going on with green. There's so much going on with the orange, like with the other tribes. But I don't remember their names. Siga Siga Ah, that's all I know is one of them. But
Not
like
me.
there,
Not me,
it's
not me,
so
not maybe you, not me.
not me, not me, not me. Oh my gosh, Soda also. See, that's the thing. Like when I
Sodar?
start thinking, there's
The
so
Sodar.
much. There's so much. Soda had such a good premiere. I'm so excited for her. I
Mhm.
feel like, is she my winner pick? Maybe. Again, I don't even know how to put it into words. I'm just so buzzing about the whole thing.
I'm so happy. I loved this premiere so much. I mean, this is again the perfect energy that Liana and I have for this podcast. It's why we loved 45 so much that like I actually just said this last week about Australian Survivor. To me, there are limited ways to play Survivor right. There are unlimited ways to play Survivor wrong. And good God, I love when it happens. Even down to like again, besides the Jelinsky stuff, which is an entirely different kettle of fish, between somebody like Randon starting to throw out the Parvati 2.0 comparison to Venus being like, that's exactly what I'm going for. Also, how dare you call me out on exactly what I'm doing? Between Tim, who I adore, but immediately coming in and being like, as the grandson of a grandmother,
Yeah, that
I
was
know
amazing. I have a
how
mother and a grandmother.
but then also having this like incredible, almost like the most feminine buff style I've ever seen, where he like
Gorgeous
tied a
Bow.
bow onto it. To Ben, who again was such an enigma in the preseason, coming in and becoming the mascot of his tribe, one of the biggest tribe mascots I've ever seen. It is just such a wild group. When I left the island back there in June, I only had a certain perspective as to what happened, but that tribal council and the stuff I saw was so electric that I'm like, I'm so excited to get the full picture as to what happened. It defied even my expectations. I did not know nearly, Izzy, the magnanimity of everything that was happening at
Oh, I
that
can't
time.
wait. I can't wait. I mean, like, I honestly think it's like art, like, I think like Survivor, it's like there's no right way to play, but all these wrong ways, but it's because it's subjective, like
Mm.
it's a subjective art form, like, and that like so much humanity is involved in like how well you do or just like how you relate to people that's unlike any other sport, like, so it's, it's more like figure skating, right? You have the artistic points and the but so yeah. I'm stoked. So yeah, we've got all the colors.
We got all the colors. Is is Survivor Twitter like the Russian judge, just like very harsh all the time?
Listen, yeah, like that's not my style, but yeah, like some people, that's how they are, and it's like, I don't know, step foot on the beach, like you don't know any of these people,
I think part of this episode also is like I don't know like what would even be the headline of this episode, because obviously the rise and fall of Jelinsky is probably the one that like ends up being the headline.
That's
But
how
then I think
legends are born. How many times
that's
did
how
he say that before he did the stupidest thing?
Until he became
my God.
arguably, like as Jeff Probst would say, some moments take ages to
And
become
also,
iconic. Some are instantly iconic. He is an instantly iconic, legendary first boot, in my opinion.
Lindsay, that
Yeah.
wasn't a blind side. You said it tribal. You were one of the people. Like you knew it was between you and Jess. That's not a blind side.
No, he was convinced
I hate
to a
that.
T that he thought it was the greatest acting performance anyone's ever put on. That everyone was, for lack of a better term, shitting all over this
Wow.
man, who's incredibly tall. So that is a feat in and of itself. But he's like, ah ha ha. They're all doing the performance of their lives. Jess is gonna be so snowed when she gets voted out 4-1 or whatever it is, only to find out that he gets all the votes against him, isn't even able to cast a vote.
Yeah. Also, why would you let him volunteer for the puzzle? I would, in that moment, and I would never volunteer. I'm not a person that volunteers. But in that moment, if he stepped forward, I said, no, I'll do the puzzle.
Yeah.
And also, Jess has been saying that she hasn't been sleeping and has this brain fog.
Yeah.
Why would you let
this goes to show perhaps like as much as we sort of shunt a lot of blame onto Jelinsky for the mess, like Yanu is kind of a group of janitors in just the mess that they waited, considering that they're like, all right, we're exhausted by the end of this. We need to catch up on the puzzle. Who should we put? how about the sleep-deprived woman who can barely string a sentence together, and the man who has put his hands up twice and failed twice?
But I mean, look, maybe I'm giving to like, I mean, I'm maybe it's like Tiffany's idea about like not actually being upset about going to tribal. I agree. I love that energy. Like, and I'm not saying they're throwing it, but it's like, is it that bad?
There's such a thing as cutting dead weight. And I think at that moment, Q certainly is like, this dude's heavier than a 500-pound gecko. We got to get him loose.
It's like, what a mess.
But it's so funny because it even starts at the marooning, right? Like Yanu, I looked it up, purple. Yanu is already a mess from the beginning.
It's so good where Jess is like, my mind goes blank. Kenzie's just on the sideline going like, well, we lost. This is pathetic.
We're kicking our ass.
Yeah, exactly. They're like covered in mud, just dejected. Like, I don't know.
I also I'm gonna sprinkle in some stuff about the fact that I was out there on set. They did not show this. I could get to a couple things from the marooning. After they do a little bit of match chat afterwards. 17 people had pants on at the end of the challenge into the marooning. One person did not. Who do you think ended their first thing on Survivor pantsless?
I mean,
who lost their pants?
I mean, yeah, the answer is Jelinski. That Jelinski
also
took his pants off in the challenge and was like, and then so he actually said something to Jeff where he's like, Jeff, 17 of us have pants on, one of us don't. And so he is just this string bean standing in his boxer briefs while everyone else is just kind of looking over at him.
Why was that not in the edit?
He now became the person Jeff was talking about in his awful pep talk about one of you can never win this season.
Yeah, it was Jelinski all along.
Yeah.
Pantsless Jelinski.
He was complaining about his shoes being all cut up. Put on his feet. Put on your shoes. The last shot, I paused it to see as he's walking away after throwing the thing, he was wearing his dunks. Why didn't you put them on? Why didn't you put on your shoes?
Well, this is who David Jelinski, incredibly so, is to a T, which is him not biting off more than he can chew and choking on it. Of him being like, don't worry, not only can I do this sweat thing, I'm going to do it barefoot. Don't you worry. And then maybe his 10 trip across the coral, he's like, oh yeah, my feet are pretty cut up. I'm going to go on this journey. I can deceive. Oh, never mind, Maria. Sorry, Mom. I don't want to lie to you.
That was a nightmare.
It is
oh my God,
amazing to see how the lesson of no half measures can play out in such a major way across so many instances, again, contained in a 3-day period.
Yeah. I love Yanu's reaction when he came back. He was like, well, but then she, I had to tell her the truth. And they were like, what?
What?
I'm sorry. Who said that?
But that's the thing is also then why would they allow him to go? I mean, so you're just slowly building up, right? This list of Jelinski's-isms or whatever. I don't know. It's I don't know with the pants situation if that would have the castaways saw that, right? So they're like, okay, who's this?
They saw a lot of it.
Pants on, yeah. Then you have him quitting very early in sweat. Then he volunteers. Then he folds. Then it's just this one thing after another. And I'm actually genuinely shocked he managed to do all of that in 3 days. That's very impressive.
Keeping him.
Yeah, and they actually contemplated keeping because he's tall and he's strong. It's incredible how much this man was able to pack in to the point where he did even more than what was shown. He was hunting for idols on night 1. He
oh my God.
He found out he was allergic to coconut. He lost his water bottle. He cut his feet up to lacerated 2 toes on the coral, which meant he couldn't wear closed-toed shoes for the next 2 months. Jeff gives them the sort of advice before every season of no opportunity wasted. And Jelinski's like, great. Every single minute, I'm going to do everything I possibly can.
Jelinski's bet, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buck it all up.
But that is incredible to me that this man comes in with that amount of confidence to him in the moment as well. That's the incredible thing about it. It's to your point, Liana. Yes, part of it is on Yanu of why do we keep letting him do this? But a lot of it is on Jelinski for having the confidence to be like, no. I quit the task halfway through. but it's only because I know the true definition of several. If I go on the journey, surely I will redeem myself in front of their eyes.
Well, that was the other thing I didn't understand. So was his argument to Jeff that it was like blatantly unfair? Like,
Yes. So the argument he made, which was that the note says, you must complete this task. It will take several hours to complete it. He basically said, like, you gave us an impossible thing to complete. This will take us, this will take us, by that definition, 7 hours. That hourglass has about 3 to 4 hours in it. It'll have 0 by the time I dramatically hurl it off its pedestal.
It's just like, you all know you just do it until the time is out. Like, you just do it until the time is out. I don't know what the problem is, you know? He just couldn't.
I mean, the thing is like, it did look it looked hard. It looked hard. It looked pretty impossible. Like, the fact that I was like, that looks hard. And then as soon as Q picked up the bucket and it's spilling water because there's fucking holes in it, I was just like, oh no.
I definitely think the Sweat versus Savvy is like not a great addition. I don't know. I don't love the Sweat versus Savvy. It's like, I think for the viewers, like, we kind of like learned a lot about the two duos, which I think was interesting, but ultimately, like, it doesn't do anything for like the game, you know, because now new era people, like super fans, are not like blaming people for that, you know, like, because I mean, other than Jelinski being an idiot, like, no one cared really,
right?
Like,
that's that. Like, look at what happened with like Ben and Charlie. Yeah, they come back like, sorry,
I mean,
we could not literally read between the lines and figure out like how to dig for this, and they're like, it's okay, come here. Like you said, it takes a real special type like Jelinski, because it's also like, you're strangers. You're thrown in, you don't know how you're going to work together, and you're probably still riding this sort of adrenaline and confusion from everything that, like, I agree. It's a tentpole of an episode of the premiere. I don't know if it necessarily is needed to support the tent. And it does seem, interestingly, that now we've had 2 seasons in a row where it's been failed. And Jeff has insisted, and I would believe in that, like, they're not purposely created to fail. I think they're maybe making them a bit harder, but it does seem now that we're trending in this direction after 4 seasons of kind of like wrote by the books. Hey, they get the thing right, and now they get their supplies.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely like maybe in some ways trying to even it out so it doesn't seem so obvious. But yeah, but it also just seems like kind of annoying that you're watching this thing and ultimately they don't get it done or whatever, you know? Anyway, and I don't think the separation is enough to like cause all that much kind of conflict within the tribe right away, you know?
Yeah.
At least we haven't seen that.
And I mean, yeah, obviously, like, it seemed like nothing really happened here. It's not like Ben and Charlie got ostracized as a result of being the 2 that didn't do it. And then obviously the Q Jelinski situation is a little bit more complicated than that.
I love how Q in this, that's the other thing, is that's wild. It's like Q, Mr. Team Pride, Mr. I Bleed Purple, hates this man with every fiber of his existence hours into the game. That this guy said, this is either going to bring us together or drive us apart. And I don't think he counted whatsoever on it being the latter. And the fact that once Jelinski yeeted the hourglass, Q's like, I'm going to get this man off my screen as soon as possible.
That's exactly how it felt, especially the moment when, who did he go to talk to after talking to the women? Was it Bono, where he was like, we're not doing that. Like, Jess is not going home. And the way that he said it, it was not a suggestion. It was a statement. It was like, Jess is not going home. Jelinski is going home. And that's the thing, is like, when you're in that situation and I'm actually all for one of like preserving resources, cutting your losses. If let's say you get halfway through and you're like, we're not even halfway done. There's no way in hell we can make up the time. Like, I'm okay if you collectively as a pair decide to save your energy and your calories to go like help the shelter, knowing that it's completely unrealistic that you would be able to accomplish that. But instead, what happened was Jelinski quit after what appeared to be 30 minutes. Q is like, no, let's do this. We can do this. Like, we got this. So clearly there's already a conflict there. It was a disaster. That's the whole decision.
Any strategy, like they didn't try any new way to make it easier for them too. Like, correct. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not even like, oh, take off your shirt and wrap it around the bucket and plug those holes. Maybe get some twigs and plug. Who knows? Like, maybe they'll, whatever. You being resourceful. They didn't try anything.
I know. I was like, maybe there's a way you could like stack the buckets together or
Yeah,
something
just
and like
something.
interlock
It's-
them. I
yeah.
don't know.
You're not running, but you're like actively trying to make the task
Work
move
smarter,
faster.
not harder.
Smarter, not harder, baby.
Yeah, but Zelensky's like, don't work at all. That's my philosophy.
Yeet.
Do you think he meant like Kobe when he threw the hourglass?
I just like, I'm envisioning a world. I don't know. I think it's just because something like that never would have crossed my mind on Survivor to do.
To throw the hourglass.
Yeah. So the fact that he did it and just like
Yeah, but
threw it on the
remember,
beach
this
was
is the
wild to
man
me.
who feels like he was like gaslit into believing that he could accomplish this task because he believes that two words have the first three letters in common, therefore they are the same thing. I am so obsessed with the fact that this man walks into the immunity challenge and says with his full broad bird chest, like, well, Jeff, last time I checked, several means 7. And everyone's reactions are like a Renaissance painting, especially Yanu, that is like, we have heard this so many times over
Just
the
no
past
one's
2
making
days.
eye contact with
Yeah.
anybody.
It is, so then the fact that the other two tribes and Jeff Probst himself is like,
What?
what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so then of course we have to have the discussion of what does several actually mean. And I love the idea of last time he checked, like what did he check? What was he checking? Was it the dictionary? Because I don't think that was it.
Yeah, he stopped at SFEF. He's like, I get the idea. Yeah, it's 7. All right.
Yeah, 7. Yeah, I got 3 letters in. I was fine. I got it. I nailed it.
I Cliff's note the rest of the word. Got like 37% in. I understood the gist of it.
I get it. That's enough. Yeah. It's a match. I think for me, like the moment, obviously we're all talking about the hourglass. We're talking about the puzzle where he's just stacking tiles, doing nothing useful, right? Like,
but then
all of those
also
moments.
can't stack puzzles because Kenzie's like, why are you not, you missed that one over there.
Yeah, exactly. Or like you can't see it. Yeah, whatever. He's not even doing that properly. For me, the moment that was like the standout Jelinski moment was the journey for me. It was, which we have to talk about the card game like in and of itself. But for me, so first of all, the lie from the get-go was hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Maria.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Maria.
I got it.
No, I have the torch, and that's all I'm gonna say about that.
It's the torchiest card you've ever seen. Ooh, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's burning my hands at this moment.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that. I have nothing else to say about that. Like, what are you doing? Although Tevin, like, I mean, I'm happy that Maria picked up on it anyway, like in the confessionals before Jelinski folded. At least that's what we're hearing. I don't know if Tevin necessarily did like the best job either, but I certainly believed him more than Jelinski, who I think did a very bad job.
Yeah, I did love Tevin because Tevin got the benefit of going second, so he could just give the what the hell look to this guy. Be like,
Yeah.
do you really sniff what this guy is trying to sell you right now? Do you really believe him? And Maria's like, I guess I can. She's just like, fine, I can't be deceptful. I'm so sorry.
I thought it would be interesting if she had asked her follow-up, because her follow-up question was great and what did it in for him. But I was curious, like, what would have happened if she had asked Tevin that question first, like how Tevin would have answered that. And clearly she would have also asked Jelinski. Like, I think because Tevin wasn't going to fold because first of all, he was telling the truth, but also like, why would you fold? You either don't, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, it's just like so stupid.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I think that Tevin also clapped back a little bit at her though when he was like, listen, like when you're wrong about this, like that's on you. You know, you're going to lose your vote as a result. Like, sorry, you made that mistake. It's all going to reflect body on you. So like, I think we, to your point, Liana, should commend Maria a lot for like honestly hustling Jelinski in this moment. But like Tevin as well was kind of laying down the hustle on Maria a bit by like kind of putting on the pressure of like, I'm not lying. And if you truly think I am, you are the fool.
Well, he's good with words. I mean, like he's going to be, I'm already saying it, he's going to be scary at Final Tribal. Like, you know, I mean, like you can already tell that's how, you know, but I'm excited about that. Yeah, Maria is fantastic. You know, I think she's mother, but not mother of the tribe. Because I love that she said that, because I hate that. I think it's like manipulative. I think it like puts women down ultimately. It like creates this like, like power dynamic that isn't supposed to be on Survivor. You're supposed to be equal, but like you look up to your mother, you don't like tell your mother your like deepest, darkest secrets. You don't like, like, I don't know. It's like not a good, especially in my experience, hashtag BB25. It's like not a role you should force upon people. So I love that Maria like identifies that and, is already sort of like, don't do that to me. Like I'm stepping up, I'm stepping out. Like I'm here. I think she's so smart. She's so level-headed. Like, she's great. She's also
level-backed as well. She was able to carry that piece on it.
Oh,
so impressed.
Yeah.
And she seems to be in a really great spot overall because she's got the women who seem to really bond with her. Her and Tim have this like parent thing maybe that could still be there. So
as
I think
the father of a daughter.
As the
with a
yes,
mother
exactly.
and a
You would know.
grandmother.
Yes.
So yeah, no, I think she's in a really great spot. I do want to just touch back on the card game, just the mechanics of the card game, not the like Jelinsky folding of it all, because I'm of two minds. So my first thought is, why would anybody ever lie?
Yeah.
Like if you are thinking long-term game plan, if I'm going to win the game of Survivor, which I assume that they all would like to win, why would you want to set yourself up as a liar and a good liar to essentially the two other tribes? Like, I don't know. It just feels like such a hole that you've already dug yourself into.
Yeah, well, I think
I have a question. Can I ask a question about it? Because I was confused about this in the thing. Like, the person that gets the skull, what scenario do they not lose their vote?
So if they are able to successfully convince the person with the vote card, like, like, I'm the one that has the voter parchment, right? That's the what you want at the end of the day. Like, if you're able to do that, the other two people lose your votes and you get an extra vote. It's interesting because to your point, Liana, it's a little bit of like, how does this compare to the ship wheel of it all, where what happens to you is based on the decisions of others. There are definitely some like minute differences. One of them being the ship wheel decision is completely private. You're not doing it out in public. You also don't know the results for a little while. You only find out you lose your vote when you get to tribal council. Here, to your point, that deception is aired in front of everybody. It's not like, oh, I remember that Barry's a really good liar because we both chose the extra vote thing. We both lost our votes. I'm going to have to remember that. It's like, no, I see you looking me in the eyes and lying to me as a first impression. It's a way to be very brazen about it. So, look, do I like completely begrudge Jelinsky's overall thinking? Not necessarily. I think he might have, again, in true Jelinsky fashion, it was phrased incredibly poorly of like, oh, I made us allies for the merge. And they're like, who's we? Where did this come from? As Bono would go, hello. But I think that, again, like the thinking in the moment makes sense that what the skull card gives you so limited options. And I think it is tough in that moment to be the person that, to your point, Liana, has to say, well, either I lose my vote or I have to look this person dead in the eyes and just lie straight to their face on day 2.
But yeah, I mean, but then okay, see, this is my thing though. Like, how can you justify, then how would you go back to camp if you did that? Like, that's what I think, like, how do you justify the people that you've just started playing the game with? Kind of like Tiffany's point, like, but we're a tribe here. Like, we need your vote here. You're a part of this. Like, I would be worried about that social dynamic in some ways over like, at least those are the other two people that like knew the bounds of this thing. I don't know.
No,
I don't think it's that
I think it's totally fair, right? Because Jelinsky folds and then gets a ton of criticism, right, when he gets back. So it's like, okay, so if telling the truth, saying that you have the skull card, like, does that automatically sort of put you in this bad position then back on your tribe? So sure, you didn't piss the two people off that you're playing with, but now you've pissed off your entire starting
tribe. You have to lie,
right?
In either one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
You either lie to the two strangers that are opposing, or I just think it's like maybe slightly more.
Last I checked, Jeff, 5 is greater than 2.
So I've thought about this a lot. So I'm happy that you bring it up, because I think the optimal strategic move is to lie horribly. So you're going to get out there with the card and you're going to have the skull card and you're going to make it like, you're going to pretend like you're lying. Okay. But you're going to do such a bad job.
You sandbag it. You're like, you're
Yeah,
holding
you
the card
sandbag
upside
it.
down and you're like, you're not looking at Maria. You're like, nope, it's not. I mean, you do kind of what Jelinsky did in his first pitch, but purposely so.
But worse, and like
worse, right? Because
yeah, so just to make it very obvious, like you, because then you're going to be, hopefully, if you can sell it, right? This is assuming you have a skill set in order to like convince them that you're doing this poorly, but not on purpose. So then hopefully those two people think you're a bad liar, which is great. That's absolutely wonderful. So then you can lie to them later. They think you're a bad liar. You go back to your tribe. You tell them exactly what happened. You tell them the truth. You'd be like, look, this was the game. I did a horrible job lying. Then they think you're a bad liar. Everybody thinks you're a bad liar. And I think that that's a great situation to be in.
I completely agree. That's the thing. It's like, again, I don't begrudge Jelinsky for what he did, but like,
it was
don't fold. Like,
it was the folding.
Lose, but don't fold. And that was the same thing with the sweat task, right? Like, it's okay if you fail it, but the way you go about it of like, well, this is impossible is not the way to do it. There's a way to lose. And I think he was able to still lose within that losing, if that makes sense.
He also folded in the puzzle. Let's be real. Jess was the only one putting pieces on that puzzle. You know?
Yeah, and at tribal council. That was Jelinsky. Like, that was what he does. He folds, baby. Like, if he's gonna do one thing, he's gonna quit. Like,
oh, I didn't quit. Jeff says, yes, you did. Yeah, you're right, Jeff. I definitely quit.
You're right.
Yes, that's right. A fold within a fold. Within a fold.
Exactly.
He's like origami for Survivor.
The tribal council was absolutely incredible, especially to witness in person. I mean, they distilled like the majority of the fantastic stuff in there, but it was just an absolute cascade down upon this man, including from Jeff himself. He said he wanted to bring his edge up, and he found the perfect target in Jelinsky, who's coming in insisting, no, Jeff, I'm not a quitter. I don't have quit in my vocabulary. He's like, you don't have several in your vocabulary, let alone the word quit. And she's like, Jelinsky actually said in an uncut sentence, I will never quit a challenge except for the sweat test.
Yeah. But also, like, Jeff absolutely came into that tribal as a participant of the Yanu tribe because he was we're voting out Jelinsky tonight, right? Like, he was so
well, it didn't help that, again,
tribal.
These people were not wearing masks to the masquerade. It was cellophane what they had on their faces, considering we get Banu, and this played just as well in the moment when Jeff says, like, oh, Banu, is it Jelinsky?
Let's vote.
It is time to vote. And just everyone's faces cracked. And the fact that, again, we sort of like, poke a bit fun at Jelinsky for, throwing the hourglass and clapping back at Jeff's definitions. Banu is this guy coming in being like, and now tribal council is ending, right? It's like, no, this is not your show. Why do you think you can pause tribal council?
Banu is another person who, I mean, obviously from the preseason stuff, like, I knew he was going to be a character, but I think it's another thing to see him like out on the island doing his Banu thing. Like, he found an ant, he ate the ant, he found a coconut. He's constantly looking for idols with his like shifty eyes where he's like,
and fails to find them.
So good.
I feel like sorry, Liana, go on.
No, go ahead.
I feel like he has the potential to be like a Roxroy. Like that, like, really thrives in the like camp life and the like loving that aspect, and like maybe doesn't join the game so much. Jury's still out, I just think like there's potential for that.
I want to bring up something to you, Izzy, because when I did my interview with Banu in the preseason, there were a fair number of people that compared him to Heisem.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've thought that too, but I didn't want to say it.
Please, go ahead. Let it be aired.
I mean, there is something in his intensity and mannerism that does. It is actually like the first thing I thought. So all of those that said that, you can feel validated. And I mean, to me, that I can't help but like smell trouble a little bit in the chaos of it and the intensity of it and like the potential polarizing nature, so that's also like, jury's still out on that too,
Yeah.
We haven't seen
I
much
think
of real game from him yet. You know, he's been like, you know, a person that's been eager to talk and listen and like, you know, hold ponytails and stuff and like feed people rice.
My
with
God.
hands.
Imagine like
shove in his mouth. No, you're fine. Home. That's like
Yeah,
such a
yeah,
great
but anyway,
moment.
but so I'm excited to see how it plays out. But I think he
Mhm.
could be like a really dangerous player, like in the chaotic bad
I think
way.
I think
Yeah,
the biggest
people.
difference, so I think the Heisem comparison, I think the intensity obviously is there. I think the biggest difference that I noticed, especially with this episode with Banu, is that Heisem felt much more, I'm gonna murder you and you will enjoy it. Whereas Banu is like an emotional mess when he was like, I don't know. She like Q's got really great points. Oh my gosh, Tiffany's got really great points, and just sort of like freaking out a little bit.
yeah, I mean,
Well,
listen, if you're
Heisem would never not know. Heisem
That's-
would never ask you what you thought, and Heisem
Oh
would
yeah,
never
no.
not know what to do.
That's the
Like,
thing,
That's
like-
a big difference, I think.
if I would create some rather aggressive imagery here, like Heisem would be the one holding the knife to know like exactly where to slide it in for the maximum impact. Banu's just waving it around. Like
Can
I
I
don't know,
tell
I
you
don't know
a
what I'm gonna
funny-
do with this thing.
Can I tell you a funny BB25
Always.
thing?
Yes.
So we would, before, you know, after Heisem was evicted, we were, you know, always wondering, is there going to be a battle back, a pre-jury battle back? And we were always like, there can't be a pre-jury battle back because Heisem will win and he'll come one day, we'll just be doing our thing and just poof, and the doors will go open and he'll just like run up to me, Suri, and Felicia and be like, sit in those chairs. And just like kill us and just like we would like act it out and like joke about it. Anyway.
I mean, I wonder if that's the fear that these people will have about Jelinsky now, that there's like another edge of extinction, and Jelinsky will pop up and be like, hello, everybody, please sit in those chairs, but then like trip on the way to the chairs.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, he'll quit it. They're not worried. It's fine. Yeah, I think Banu, from at least from this episode, just felt like he was panicked, like panicking. So I don't know how well that's gonna do for him in the game, but I'm very excited to see him. I think he's been very entertaining so far.
Well, it's interesting because, yeah, feasibly, if Jelinsky doesn't Jelinsky, like that alliance of four holds together, Jess is probably voted off. So it was Banu and Jess that were on the outs. So maybe there was that general sense of panic or like over eagerness that had him on the outs to begin with. And then you have these like three relative cool as a cucumber people who were all just sort of looking at each other being like, why did we get the purple buffs? We look good in these cooler colors, but these people are far from cool heads.
I'm hoping that Jess is just having like an Aubrey first season.
Same.
Like that's what I'm hoping for her. You know, I mean, like, and justice for Aubrey in that season. So I think, you know, I think Jess has the potential to have like a, you know, a far.
Otherwise, she's going to have to go anonymous and wear that paper bag on her head at all times.
Yeah, at all times.
I'm Jelinsky's back. Yeah, I'm really hoping that she can sort of like get over that hump. I am just genuinely nervous though for the Yanu Purple Tribe because yeah, they just seem like a hot mess overall. And like, who would have thought thems would be the hot mess?
Right? That's interesting. When I saw, because I didn't see the tribe divisions until the marooning. And so I'll be honest, when I saw Nami, I'm like, God, I love you, but I am so fearful of you. Because these are such great personalities, but they are honestly not some of the most physical people there. But they're, at least as of this moment, like some special sauce going on. They're making a mean barbecue at this moment where they're able to work seamlessly together, get off to a formidable lead in both of these challenges. Siga's able to scrape by just on the vibes, and Yanu, the most physically stacked tribe going in, like cannot make it out of the gate either time. And you would argue probably the challenge that was most well suited for them, lugging 500 pounds around, they struggled the most. I was there. It took them like 10 minutes to get that thing over the wall. It was strenuous. It was exhausting and excruciating to watch.
Is it because they didn't lift it in the back, right? Jeff was like, you can't win by pulling the head or whatever.
I know poor Tiffany was just like stuck pulling that head, you know, and it's like, yeah, there wasn't a lot of like collective problems.
Yeah, like teamwork,
you know?
strategy, like how we're solving this as a team kind of thing.
And that's the thing, like Nami, you know, has 2 camp counselors, right? Different, but 2 camp counselors, so they know how to like get the kids together to like work together. I
Yep.
mean, you have to admit they were like, I mean, I'm sure it was like kind of cool in person. Like it seemed like they were actually just like a well-oiled machine.
It
like
was, yeah,
in
it was
sync and everything.
seamless. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was absolutely like from beginning to end, as if they had done this a million times before. I love that point as well, that here comes Hunter coming in, sweet old boy, being like, well, I'm from a small town in Mississippi. I don't think I'm really going to get on with everybody. And he finds someone who was a camp counselor, but who obsesses over the one thing about camp
Can't get
counseling that
over
he hates the most. So he's trapped in his own personal nightmare of be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, I just like think it's like, but dude, you're on Survivor. Like, you know, like she's a great person to have like a lot in common with. I was like so disappointed by that. And then when Tevin, who was like surprisingly bonding with Hunter, all cute, I love them. Andy Griffith, let's go. But then when he went to Soda, Soda was like, absolutely, I like Hunter's vibes. You know, it's like people would be willing, and he's all like grumpy.
Yeah, I think Marianne tweeted it that like, so Soda is me and Jonathan is Hunter. So, you know, just because they maybe don't initially get along, they can still maybe work together moving forward.
But it's not even that they don't get along. It's just by pure coincidence, these two
Hunter
have
is
worked
annoyed.
the same job, and this one person does the one thing they don't like. It's like Liana.
It's like they were cast for this.
Exactly.
Huh,
Liana,
yeah,
it's as if you were
interesting.
playing with another scientist, but like you don't like when someone drums on the laptop with a pencil, and all this person is doing at camp is just drumming on the trees, and you're like, this is the
Oh my
one,
God.
the literal only thing I hate about my job, and this person just brought it into the island with me.
Yeah, the one thing that bothers me. I mean, I think for them, they already sort of have Randon, who seems to be on the outs. So I think like the Soda Hunter contingent will probably be okay if they do end up going to tribal council. I'm very curious about Venus's place on the tribe, because we saw the conflict with her and Randon, but at the same time, then we saw Randon turn to Soda, and Soda immediately goes to Venus, which makes me feel like, oh, okay, Venus is then maybe a little bit more insulated, and it's just sort of Randon on the outs. But I don't know, 100% exactly how those dynamics are. But we saw Tevin, Hunter, and Soda maybe is like kind of a threesome, and then Liz is just allergic to everything. So
It's allergic to alliances.
Poor Liz.
yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because on the one hand, yes, that is a very good indicator of like clearly Soda is on her side, but I'm not gonna completely count her safe yet, especially if they're suspecting she has something. You know, if she has an idol, there's a very good chance they're like, okay, so now we'll just throw votes at her. If she does have something, then she'll play it, and she'll probably vote for Randon, and Randon's gone. If she doesn't, then she's gone. It's one of those things that will draw much more of a target to yourself than now. Venus almost has to like steer into the curve and double, triple down on her idol search because now she needs something.
Yeah.
Did we hear what Tevin said when he came back? I feel like we missed what Tevin and Maria said, right? When they came back to
Maria was completely truthful. There was a secret scene of what
Okay.
Tevin said. Tevin sort of did the Goldilocks just right, where he did what was done before with extra votes, which is he described the entire story. What he left out was, I don't know who has an extra vote until we go to tribal council.
Great. Yeah.
But Randon clocked him on the lie. And so this is a guy who maybe not the best social standing, but he is well read. He's the librarian, considering that he is able to clock what a lot of people are doing. I don't know if he'll have the capital to do anything with it, but yeah, that's Tevin's prevailing narrative, is he is operating under the assumption to everyone else of like, well, I might not have my vote. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm nervous for Randon. I think
I'm
that
not that nervous to Randon. I think he could go.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. I think that tribe is in a great spot for where I'm envisioning the game going.
Yeah, like my personal future for them.
Exactly.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And the thing about Siga, again, they're more so like the cool vibes tribe, even though there is some stuff going on where
They're
clearly it's going to
surviving.
be, it's much like we got with Bello last season, right? Where it's like, we have the 3 women, and to try to prevent a 3-3 tie, they're already working on pulling Charlie over from the defense to the prosecution as it was. But yeah, they were, as we sort of predicted in the preseason, probably the most low-key tribe out of the 3, certainly compared to Yanu.
Yeah, I think I mean, we didn't get like a ton from them. We did get Ben saying that he would shred a Long Island iced tea, so he's working in the shred isms as part of his whole like character out there.
He's got a bit,
And then
yeah, he's like doing a bit.
and
I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
well yeah, he came in with you either rock or you be rocked.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we got rocked. Yeah, that was really funny. I enjoyed that. And then yeah, I mean, then you have Tim, knowing how women operate because he has a mother and a grandmother. So I'm curious what is going to happen with them. I do think Charlie will side with the women based on his confessional being like, I've had female bosses my whole life. Like, I love working with women
As the
for
employee
women,
of a female boss.
as the employee. Which, yes, we love that. So I'm
But
excited.
also, I did look up. I did look up season 42, 43, and 44 boot order. I know.
Mhm.
Did we all do? It's like these dudes are just so fragile and like can't think.
Yeah,
Why
I
doesn't
will-
he then try to like work with women? But like in 42, like the second, third, fourth, sixth, and
I know.
seventh were women. 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 43, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are 44.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what it is it's the legacy of a name that Randon invoked. It is Parvati Shallow and the Black Widow Brigade. It is that one real time besides Survivor One World that like an all women's alliance worked, and it has scared the life out of a lot of future players of like, okay, when we see them group it up, they're gonna make it work because it works every single time. And so as a result, yeah, Tim I think is maybe taking a bit too much of a peek into the Survivor past rather than the Survivor recent past.
Well, and the thing is, like, I think what he's not realizing is like him sort of like putting that energy out there is going to force, and we saw the women do it, of course, because they're not dumb. They came to play, like, but I think they can feel that energy and they've, of course, like immediately teamed up, but it's like frustrating because just like in general, from the beginning of time of all these shows, men just team up with each other and it's not a problem. And the minute women or others try to do the same, it's like, all hell is broken loose. You're not going to give me the game. What are you talking about? So I got no time for that. Add that to the list of things that I don't like in a Survivor.
Yeah, and it's tough because listen, like nothing to say about Tim as a person. Like he's a great guy. I got the chance to talk with him, and he's really funny. I just think a little bit of a rougher start for him than I expected. I thought he was going to be like totally in the pocket, like nice, confident leader that everyone would turn to. Almost seems like Ben kind of became like the quote unquote leader of the tribe, or at least everyone that kind of like looks to for morale. So Tim is kind of like taking a very different role in this Sega family than I would have expected initially.
Totally. They seem here for it. Like the whole kumbaya surviving thing. They're like LIVIN, I will say.
Well, that was actually, so there were one of two ways that could have gone with Ben, right? Like, so he's calling himself the Dean of Cultural Affairs. Okay. So he's like titled himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm real happy that I'm not on that tribe.
That's the thing. Yeah, it can go one of two ways. Like we're going full kumbaya. Yes, we're all surviving or whatever. Like we're all having. What was the thing they did? Flock of
Segas.
Yeah,
Flock
of Segas. Like they're all going in on it, and I'm very happy for them. It could not have gone that way though. Like if you get a tribe with like if Hunter was there, Hunter's like, I'm not having this.
Will you stop singing these damn songs?
Well, but it's like Hunter's seemingly the only one that doesn't like it on Nami. Also, right? I mean, like everyone else seems kind of here for it,
And also, like Hunter, it seemed like the stuff he doesn't like are like camp songs and like overt sexual references. Like it's like I don't know if I get along with these people. Cut to Liz being like, "I will climb my ex-husband like a tree. I am Ozzy."
Yeah. That's add that to the list of things I know about Liz. It's like allergies, climbing men like trees. Got it.
That would be a great Tinder profile.
Yeah, exactly. Under likes.
Yeah.
Well, likes, many allergies.
Many allergies.
Before we get into our usual B&B fare, I did want to bring something up because I don't know if you've heard this before. I was out on set for Survivor 46. So believe it or
I've never heard that.
I keep it as close to my chest as Jelinski's skull card. Here's the thing. So I mentioned this beforehand. As lovably goofy as this episode was, it could have been goofier. Because people were like, oh, where's the Matt chat for this season? Why did we cut from like Jeff Probst, to your point, is he demotivational speech to all of a sudden getting into the first challenge? There was a Matt chat. Jeff Probst talked to every player out there, but it wasn't showed, understandably, because it sort of like broke up the momentum. They wanted to get into it, but it is the funniest, oddest opening to a season I've ever seen. Let's start getting into some games, shall we? I got a little like mini game here for you.
Oh my god.
Because what Jeff Probst did with these contestants
I'm scared.
was Jeff Probst decided to break the ice.
Oh no.
With literal
Oh,
icebreakers.
Oh,
Jeff
no.
Probst's Matt chat was not
Oh,
platitudes about the game.
No.
It was
Oh,
not
no.
like what Survivor is. The man would go to
No.
people and start asking them random non sequitur questions.
Oh no.
So here's what we're
Oh,
gonna
no.
do.
Crap, we're doing Matt chat, aren't we?
I'm gonna present each of you with 2 questions. One of these, Jeff Probst actually asked a Survivor 46 contestant. Another
my
one he
gosh.
did not. You have to guess what Jeff Probst, Emmy winner, actually asked a Survivor 46 contestant when they played the game.
If he asked for 2 truths and a lie, I'm gonna cry.
No, he did not go
Okay.
that far.
Never have I ever. Did they
Never,
do
yes.
never have I ever?
Okay, everybody, put up your hands.
All right, Liana, I'll start with you. Did
Yes,
Jeff
never
Probst
have I
ask...
ever quit a challenge.
Exactly. All right, that's the only time I'm putting something down. All right, Liana, did Jeff Probst ask either A, if you had to wear a hat every day for the rest of your life, what type of hat would you wear?
No.
Or did he ask, is there a funny knock-knock joke?
No. Neither. I refuse to accept a universe where Jeff asks either one of those questions.
I can guarantee you he asked one of them.
Oh my god.
Is he drunk?
Why would he ask the hat question? That's so weird. Why would he ask about knock-knock jokes? I don't know. The hat. Did he ask about the hat?
He did not ask about the hat. He did ask, is there a funny knock-knock joke?
Well, what was the who got asked? What was the response? What was the joke?
So he asked Tevin. Tevin was like, we could get into some responses to that in a little bit. He did ask Liz, and Liz so confidently said, oh, knock knock. And they said, who's there? And she's like, her mind draws a blank, and everyone laughs. She's like, see, they're laughing. There we go. And then she recovers by saying, knock knock, who's there? The winner of Survivor. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's golf club.
Yeah, okay.
Cover.
Would have been better the first time, but yeah.
All right, Izzy,
that is a joke. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Here are 2 other questions.
Okay.
All right. A, you can be 10% smarter, but appear to be 20% dumber to others. Do you take that deal? Or did Jeff ask, if you could turn the ocean into a liquid other than water, which one would you pick?
Okay, once again, I want to refuse to answer. Okay, since he's maybe not going with game related things, I'm going with B.
No, he indeed asked, you could make yourself 10% smarter while looking 20% dumber to everybody else.
I think I'd take it.
Indeed, the first person he asked was Jelinski. He said yes. Banu responds in true Banu fashion by saying, well, Jeff, I am 90% dumb and 10% smart. To which Jeff responds, you didn't answer the question. Q continues to take things in a weird, askew direction by saying, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm already 100% smart.
Oh, which is a 100% dumb answer.
And then Jelinski goes, I'll take that answer.
Oh my god.
He even quit his own answer.
He couldn't, he plagiarized. He had to smash that. I do like the idea if you could turn the ocean into another liquid, what kind of liquid would you turn it into? I love the idea of turning it into stew because of stew.
I would not want to. I would not want to do that.
Yeah, but then they wouldn't be hungry. They'd have plenty of food.
Rancid, though. It's got to go bad at a certain point.
Would sand be butter noodles?
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but
yeah, I don't know if there's a shelf life to it.
Yeah.
All right. Liana, here's another one.
Yes. Okay.
Did Jeff Probst ask, if you see a stranger and they have a booger in their nose, do you tell them? Or did he ask, What would you do if you were seated next to a chronic farter on a packed airplane? I will remind
I'm
you,
going-
Jeff Probst asked one of these questions to people.
Yeah, it's funny as you go through these, I'm still so shocked it got cut from the episode, including the fart/booger conundrum here. I'm gonna go with booger.
Booger is correct. You picked a winner there.
Wow.
Yeah, well, they picked a winner, so
Yeah.
Oh.
So Ben, surprise, surprise, says he absolutely would. Quote, "You gotta wipe it clean," I think is the thing that he would say to this complete stranger. Tim takes the opposite approach. He said, "I'm in line for coffee, not your booger." And Soda said, sort of took the middle of like, "I'm just gonna judge you and walk away."
Yeah. I love that she's
love that.
minding her own business. Okay.
yeah. Like,
I don't
look,
know strangers anything.
All right, Izzy,
Okay.
did Jeff ask, "What's the perfect bowl of popcorn?" Or did he ask, "Would you rather eat only pickles for a week or drink only soy sauce for a week?"
Was he a have-not or something?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Yeah,
him and Julie.
it's a food ration situation. Did they like run out of supplies in Ponderosa? Like, was this an issue?
Yeah.
Just shout out to my people. I'm going B on this one. Pickles and soy sauce.
That is not correct.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
he asked them what the perfect bowl of popcorn is. Jem, the sweetheart that she is, was like, "Give me a bowl of caramel sauce." Mariah immediately rebuts her, being like, "No, no, no. It's got to be burnt at the edges."
Oh.
Tevin, who again has this absolutely mellifluous tone,
Yeah.
describes what I'm going to describe so delicately as if having sex with a bowl of popcorn. He's like, "It's got to be buttery
Ooh.
and dripping down
Ooh.
my body."
Ooh.
No.
This
Oh.
is the second minute the
Okay.
game has started.
He's absolutely
Like
my winner pick.
American Pie
Yeah.
kind of situation.
Yeah. Oh, I like it.
Well, I mean, this was before the Dune-ussy of it all. The Dune pop with the
Oh, the fleshlight. Yeah, I thought
fleshlight,
you were
yeah.
talking about a donut pushy. It's like,
No.
no, there's a hole there.
Nope. Okay, wow. I mean, obviously this clashes with what I know of Jeff Probst. Like, when I think of Jeff, I do not think of Jeff asking those types of questions. On the other hand, Survivor Man. So like, it's maybe this is just part of Jeff's MO. We're like trying new things. It's a new era. Let's ask about boogers and popcorn and 10% smarter, 20% dumber.
Well,
Just kind of a complicated question.
I'll present one more to you here, Liana.
Okay, yes. Okay.
Did Jeff ask, if you pick up a sponge and it smells, do you still use it? Or did he ask, if you punch yourself in the face and it hurts, are you strong or are you weak?
This is painful.
What?
Well, that's the answer to that question. That second one.
I feel like I've been punched in the face.
This game is feeling like I've been punched. Did
Yeah.
I just smell a sponge? Like, I have no idea. Izzy, what do you think?
I don't know. I've been
Punching or
wrong this whole
sponges?
time. I don't know. Let's go with sponges. I don't know.
Sponges,
It's gonna be
baby.
fun.
The correct answer is Jeff Probst asked both those questions.
Oh.
No. Did
I
he
want to
really?
know Jeff's answer. I would
Are
be like, Jeff. what
Yeah,
is-
so believe it or not, the sponge question was the very first thing he asked.
What was he on?
I don't know, but
I
I
want
love it
some.
so
I
much.
I want some. That's why I'm asking.
It was so incredible. And I asked Jeff about this. I talked to him after the first tribal council, and he just got a feeling from this cast. You know, he says that when it comes to these speeches, like he sometimes usually takes a look at like the cast the morning of, just to like run it through again in his head, and comes up with what he wants to tell them there in the moment. And honestly, I think it is so apropos for this group. Like, in retrospect, I was like, this is wild and weird, but it makes so much sense for this particular group of people, to the point that I do wish it was shown, because Jeff kind of met them where they were going to meet him in terms of the tone.
They should
Mhm.
release it as just like it's an extra thing. They should, it should just be like a fun thing. Call CBS or something.
Yeah.
Get
I
that
mean,
out there.
That's the thing is like understanding that I get that explanation because this is the cast that would play ball and clearly played ball with him when it came to these. Like imagine Emily Flippin replying to some of those questions. Just like, what are you even asking me right now?
Well, it's interesting because particularly the "you punch yourself in the face and it hurts" was far and away the most wild question that was asked in this wild group of questions. So Charlie says you're equal parts weak and strong. Kenzie, in her true like peppy way, says you're strong because taking pain it takes strength. Maria tried to do what the two of you were doing in the beginning, which is kind of weasel her way out of an answer. She says, "I'm so quick. When I try to punch myself in the face, I dodge out of the way."
Yeah.
And Mariah finishes it up by responding, "If you're punching yourself in the face, it means you're a dumbass."
Yeah. See, yeah.
We
Yeah.
needed this.
Yeah.
I'm so
Well,
mad we didn't see it.
You're gonna miss it even more when I tell you how it finished.
Oh
There's
no.
one last question. Jeff asked, "What's the song that's going through your head right now as you're about to start this game?" So Hunter does "Get Back Up Again" from the movie Trolls. And what was even more surprising about that was like the very warm reaction to it. Everyone was like, "Oh,
I love that. I love that movie.
It's like a Family Feud. Good answer." Brandon said "The Rain" by Missy Elliott, and would it surprise you to say Soda immediately starts singing a rendition of it? Maybe that's one reason why it didn't make the edit. Liz sings "Summertime" by Jazzy Jeff. Jem sings "A Moment Like This."
Oh no. Wait, who sings that?
Jem.
Oh, Jem.
And then Jelinski talks about "Shoot to Thrill," quoting Iron Man. Kenzie, it comes back to her. Much like Liz with the knock-knock joke, her mind is drawing a blank, and she tells Jeff, "All that's going through my head is happy birthday to you." And everyone starts laughing, and Jeff goes, "And about that, is that a good song?" And everyone resoundingly not only says yes, they then proceed in unison to sing "Happy Birthday" to Jeff Probst.
Oh no.
What? Okay. Like, Mike,
no.
I love you so much. You know I love you. And you know I trust you. But this is nonsense. I'm like pretty sure you had a dream and this was not real because none of this sounds real.
Well, I mean, it goes hand in hand with his no villains thing. What is this like kittens and rainbows? I mean, like, this is so odd, right?
Was it Jeff's birthday?
No,
No.
Immediately after it happened, and they went through the full rendition. He goes, "It's not my birthday," and Ben immediately goes, "Yeah, you're a Scorpio, right?"
Legitimately fan fiction. Like that is so weird. That's so bizarre. The fact that they didn't even just sing one line, they sang the whole song. They sang it to Jeff.
Whole song.
Oh my god.
And that's the wild thing. This is Survivor, right? This is purposely cast to be 18 people from different walks of life. I'm butchering the Tevin monologue, but like these 18 people are put on a game to cut each other's throats and vote each other out. It's honestly much like the Christmas that the two warring sides in World War II decided to get together and briefly break bread over Christmas time to truly celebrate the holidays and what they mean to everybody. Everyone decided to sing "Happy Birthday" to Jeff Probst about 4 months before his real birthday.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's now I'm kind of like, will he accept future question ideas? Like, can we come up with some weirdo questions and submit them to Jeff? Maybe he'll ask them next year.
See, that's the tough thing though, is that like he was very much feeling the vibe of the tribe, and that was very much the vibe of this group. If lightning strikes twice and we get a similarly off the wall group in 47 or 40 several, then maybe. But otherwise, this might have to be a one and done thing. And I am, for many reasons, so grateful I was able to go out there. But even more so that I got to experience truly, as Jem would say, some people wait a lifetime for a moment like this. I did not realize this was that moment until it happened.
Wow. Incredible. And you thought it was going to be the gecko.
That's the other thing as well. I was like, great. You know what? I got what I came for. I can die a happy man. And then I find out later that day, hey, there's 3 500-pound bloodshot geckos sitting in the art department for them to lug around for the first challenge. And Liana, I would not disagree that I had the exact same feelings you did, which was, am I tripping on something right now? Did something get laced in my water? What is happening at this moment? And what was happening was an absolutely bananas Survivor episode.
Yeah, honestly. I love the comment about the gecko where Jeff is like, legs and tails and bloodshot eyes.
Bloodshot eyes.
These
Why gotta be
things are on
bloodshot?
cocaine.
Also, it was just like a black eye with like two little white dots.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
So
There wasn't anything really red about it.
the orange one didn't have bloodshot eyes. I think the other ones were kind of like, I don't know, like drug PSAs, right?
Yeah,
of
whatever
like,
Jeff was on for the marooning.
yeah, this is the opioid crisis. It's
Yeah.
made its way to our 500-pound geckos. This is why you don't leave your drugs around. Your pets might ingest them and engorge themselves to 500 pounds.
I mean, that's a lot of opium for a 500-pound gecko. So,
Well, didn't Jeff even say that's a lot of gecko at some point in the challenge?
It's a whole lot of gecko.
Oh my god. Well, so obviously preseason predictions were a little bit different. I couldn't write anything about Jelinski. A, because I obviously saw what happened. B, I don't think anything I wrote could compare to what we actually got in reality. But Liana, I'm so interested from your perspective. What did you think about Jelinski, how he do preseason?
Yeah, so I did say that I had Jelinski going pre-jury. And this is a little bit of a spoiler for one of my other predictions, but whatever. Jelinski forms a tight bond early with Q, but Q's my way or the highway attitude gets both of them in trouble when Yanu loses their first immunity challenge. After Q goes out, spoiler, Jelinski struggles to connect with the three women on Yanu, putting him squarely on the outs. So he spends his entire days searching for idols, which further isolates him. And after pulling the one-armed bandit of idol slot machines over and over, he continues to come up empty-handed. On his last day, he frantically gambles on his shot in the dark, but that also comes up not safe. He's voted out unanimously. I said that his enemy or his ally was Q and his enemy was Lady Luck.
Is one-armed man a euphemism? It kind of sounds like it should be.
The one-armed bandit, right? Isn't that like a thing? Like a one-armed bandit?
Well,
It's like a name for a
there's
slot machine?
Well, oh, really? It's 'cause there's the one-armed man from The Fugitive, but I don't know if a one-armed bandit is a reference to a slot machine. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, one-armed bandit. Wow, I've never heard of that before.
Yes. Okay, good.
Is
I'm
this
glad I
like
didn't make that up
prediction
because I did
fiction?
not check.
Yeah, so it's yeah, we write up predictions before the season of how we think everyone's gonna do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were right that he technically went out without a vote. You said that he didn't unsuccessfully play his shot in the dark. He didn't even have one to play at the end of the day.
Boom. Yeah, you couldn't even gamble it away. Although it was fun to finally see somebody using a shot in the dark as die.
Wasn't that incredible?
Most useful.
It was such a smart
Seriously.
idea. Well, also, though, in the wake of what happened in 44, which was talked about a lot in my interviews, which was like, you can't do a rock draw anymore. You can't do a stick draw because someone's going to rig it. Like, yeah, I guess unless the dice is loaded, I guess we have to roll it. That's the only way we can do it. But super out of the box thinking, just using something that's in front of you that, again, should be used as a dice in a perfect world.
I love
All right. Let's keep the games a-rolling, much like the dice. Now, much like Randon, we're going to take a look back in Survivor history here for this game. But don't worry, you don't need to know too much. Now, Jelinski fashioned himself a legend, perhaps with the fashion of wearing no pants when everyone else did after the marooning. He wanted to go by his last name from the jump. You know, he said that there's David Wrights, there's David Voces, there's only one David Jelinski. Surnames are interesting on Survivor, right? As is talked about, they're often reserved for legends. And so last names are oftentimes thrown by the wayside, forgotten about. I think it's time we brush off the dust a bit and remember some last names from Survivor seasons past in a game that I'm calling Call Me By My Last Name. Here's how this works. Each of you, we're going to go back and forth here.
No.
I'm going to give you the name of a previous Survivor castaway. I will give you an option of 3 possible last names.
Oh, okay. Thank God. Okay.
You're not going to have to fabricate this out of thin air. Don't worry. You have to figure out of the 3 what the last name of this person was.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a disaster. It's okay. We're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
this
yeah.
together.
This
We'll
is
fail
Survivor
together.
46. It's the walking disaster,
Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah,
a
let's do
season
it.
so
Yeah,
far.
yeah,
So
yeah,
we're
yeah.
just vibing with the mood of it. We're like Jeff with the questions.
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
we ever need to get out of it, just punch yourself in the face.
Exactly. It doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong.
Doesn't mean you're weak.
If you pick up a game and it smells,
you
keep
did
on using
fit.
it.
So you did fold.
Yeah, wait. So he asked the sponge question?
Yes, he has. That was the
Who-
first question he
He
asked.
said that they would use it.
So he
Yeah,
asked.
yeah.
The first people he asked were Jess and Tiffany, who I will give them some credit. When Jeff Probst decides to start a season by asking you if you pick up a sponge and it smells, do you use it? They were, suffice to say, a little thrown off.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
they were sort of like, I guess so. Sure, pretty non-committal. Then it goes to Venus, who says, I use the dishwasher for that. I don't do the dishes. And everyone's like, oh, okay. And I will
no.
say that was talked about by other tribes.
Princess moment.
Yeah, so that's what maybe they were
Oh.
enforcing the stereotypes a little bit. I don't do the dishes. This is not my birthday.
Oh no. Oh no.
All right,
It's Jeff's
so
birthday though.
yes, happy. I'll say now, happy birthday to Jeff. Hope he's doing well out there. It's Jeff's birthday somewhere. That's the operative phrase. All right, so maybe we should make that into merch. So again, I will give you a Survivor player. I will give you a list of 3 possible last names. You have to
Yeah.
guess what the last name is. Liana,
Yeah.
let's start with you
Yeah.
because you're so eager.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
This is Chet.
Oh, Chet.
You probably
okay.
You probably remember Chet from Survivor Micronesia.
We do.
Yes.
Like Jelinski, cut his feet on some coral, had to
We
leave.
did.
Yep.
Was
Yep.
Chet's last name Mott, Dole, or Welch?
Okay. The one thing I knew is it started with a W, and thank God you did not give me multiple W options. So I'm going C, Welsh.
Drink up a nice glass of grape juice because it is Chet Welch.
Okay. All right. Good.
And I will also say these are not 3 random last names. I did have some fun and do a connecting theme across. These all mean to give up.
Oh.
Or to give away. Like Jelinski welched
like
his vote.
Jelinski.
Yeah.
Jelinski also means that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go a little bit more recent here for this next one, Izzy.
Oh no.
This is
Oh,
Tori.
Tori. Okay, I will say Paige is gonna kill me because I'm not gonna know, and Paige loves Tori.
Well, you're going to become more familiar with her
Yeah,
this
just
time
as
because
Paige,
you'll know
I'm
her
sorry.
government
Yeah.
name.
Let's go, Tori. Household name.
You'll know the name that,
Yes.
the household last name as well. Is Tori's last name Meehan, Rice, or Wade?
Oh my god. Wait, say him again.
Meehan, Rice, or Wade?
Meehan, Rice, or Wade? Let's go C. It's not Wade.
Tori Wade? You're waded in the wrong waters. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
Tori
yeah.
Meehan.
Meehan.
Not to be confused
Oh
with
my
Dawn
God.
Meehan. That was the theme, was Survivor South Pacific contestants. Tori is
Mm.
apparently related to one of them, or maybe by last name only.
Wow, Meehan is fitting, actually. I didn't want to take the plunge. I don't know.
All right, Liana.
Yes.
Oh, good. Next here. This is Aaron. Aaron is from Survivor China.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is infamously when PG and Jamie threw, quite literally, they Jelinski the Zodiac puzzle, saying they only do Sudoku. Is
Okay.
Aaron's last name
Yep.
Hunsha, Leichenberg, or Riceburger?
Can you say that again?
Sure, of course. I'll use my Germanic accent once more.
Yes, please.
Hunsha, Leichenberg, or Riceburger?
I don't think it's A. I am going to guess B.
You think it is Aaron Leichenberg? Well, you were close. Riceburger is the correct answer
that sounds
here.
like a fake name.
One of the
Aaron
fingers.
Riceburger. He ate a lot of rice and a lot of burgers at Ponderosa after he was
Mhm.
voted out. I don't think it means anything in German, but I did pick 2 other German words. Hanscha means glove, and Liana, the one you picked, Leichenberg, means pile of corpses.
Oh, Okay, don't know why I was drawn to that, but
Isn't German fun?
talk to our therapist about that later.
It's like the Rorschach test of German
Yeah,
phrases.
exactly. I don't know. Pile of corpses, baby.
All right, Izzy. This is Ashley. Ashley played on a little season called Survivor Redemption Island, featured some of your favorite things about Survivor, cult leaders, moralizing.
Yep.
Was
Yeah,
Ashley's last name Doherty, Underwood, or Westman?
I'm going Underwood.
You are correct.
Yay!
Hey.
Hey!
Before there was Chris, there was an Ashley before him. No idea. I do not think they're related whatsoever. But yes, Ashley Underwood, a challenge beast before the one to come that literally won the challenge.
Mm.
Well, let's stick on Survivor Redemption Island. Of course, one of the most memorable casts in Survivor history. Liana, this is Krista.
Krista.
Okay, yes.
This is one of Russell's main allies, to the point where, believe it or not, when he was inducted into Survivor Hall of Fame and was given the power to nominate others, there was at least 1 year where he nominated Krista. But do we know her last name?
Okay.
Is Krista's last name Clump, Bunch, or Flock?
Those are all excellent choices.
Yeah, well, so now that I know that you're doing the theme,
See, I'm doing themes, Jeff. Is that
think,
so hard?
I think I remember her name being alliterative, so I'm gonna go with Clump.
You are a doctor, but you are also a nutty professor because it is Krista
Oh.
Clump.
Hey.
We love the clumps.
We love
look at
the
that
clumps. And also mentioned the Ashley one was it was 3 last names of former winners. It was Chris Underwood, Chris Doherty, and
Yeah.
Tom Westman.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ashley was making a name for herself before a future winner, and Krista was bringing the alliteration with one of the oddest last name spellings I've ever seen. I don't know if Clump has 2 P's in it, but
I
Double
did not know
Ps.
that her name had 2 P's in it. What's the extra P for? Clump.
Why not?
We love an extra P.
we love an extra P here on the B&B. It's the B&B and P, but the P is silent, as it should be. All right, Izzy, you're next up.
Mhm.
This is Sydney. I'm going to do another new era one for you. So, is Sydney's name Tern, Seagull, or Plover?
Seagull.
Ah, that is correct. Flock of seagulls.
Yes.
Oh, we had a good time at premiere night. Ew.
No.
Is that like Ben's guitar sound effect?
I don't know.
Do you think Ben's doing air guitar on the island?
Always.
Oh, I think so.
Probably.
Do you think him and Sifu would get along?
They have already challenged each other to
Oh.
a guitar battle.
Oh, okay.
And it's
so,
already been
yes.
they've already done it in the preseason. It's already
Oh.
documented online if you want to check it out.
Who won?
Oh.
Who won?
I mean, to Izzy's point,
I
that's
guess
a
no
matter of
spoilers.
opinion.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it's subjective.
There's no
subjective.
adjudicated committee as of yet. Nobody's been appointed, but I mean, what? Give it like over under 2 episodes until Ben makes his own island guitar and starts playing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think he's already done it.
Because you
Yeah,
could take
agreed.
like strings of palm fronds to use for guitar strings. You could probably use some bamboo for a fretboard.
Yeah.
I guess a coconut would be the thing that's the most hollow.
Yeah,
like if you could
Wow,
kind of get
get a
a
nice resonating chamber.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just gotta like drill like a sizable enough hole in it,
Yeah,
right?
just drill a hole in it.
yeah, just drill a hole. They don't
I
have
don't
their
know.
supplies, but they
Izzy,
just drill a
if you
hole,
were
it's
on
fine.
Survivor, would you ever make a flute out of bamboo if you were bored enough?
I probably would be. I would try not to be annoying, but I would be playing all the bamboos. I played all the basses in the Big Brother house.
Imagine there's going to be someone you're on a tribe with that's like, I'm a musician, but the one thing I hate are flute players.
Listen, I'd be like, listen, right there. I'm right there with you. honestly.
As a self-hating flute
Yeah,
player.
like, one right there.
All right, next up, we are back to Liana.
Oh.
This is Michael.
Oh, this guy.
Michael. I think my favorite thing is just Izzy's reaction. Izzy's random Survivor player.
Just a trip down memory lane. This guy with his
Oh
square head.
boy.
So Michael was on
his little
Survivor One World.
Yeah.
Was Michael's last name Adams, Jefferson, or Madison?
I like that theme. That's fitting. You know how I feel about presidents.
There we go.
What president do I think he looks the most like? What was it? Jefferson, Adams, and Madison. Those were the
Those are the three.
Oh, illiterate. Was he illiterate? Apparently, that's the only way I can remember last names. I'm gonna go with Jefferson.
That is correct. You made the right Louisiana purchase. Whoop! I put Michael Jackson.
I mean,
Wow.
another president, I guess.
Now, Mike, that's what you should tell your therapist.
Well,
Mike has something to add.
Yeah. So when you see Michael Jefferson, what do you actually see? Who's the man in the mirror in this situation, Mike?
Oh my God. Well, it was a test of black or white, and I failed, evidently, because I wrote Michael. I swear I was thinking, do not write Michael Jackson. Do not write Michael Jackson. And I was like, oh, I think I'm fine. I'll move on here. And I just did not. This is why you should proofread people. I just wrote Michael Jackson.
Professional.
Liana got it right. I did not. The moral at the end of the day. All right,
Okay.
Izzy, back to you. Away
How do
from
you
my.
follow that? You know.
Well, we're gonna file this
do
with
you
a man by the name of Jeremiah from Survivor
Jeremiah
Braids Brawl's
Jackson.
Beauty. He was
Oh.
a beauty, but can you get his beauty of a last name? Is Jeremiah's last name Reed, Stone, or Wood?
Well, that's funny. Wait. Reed,
Stone, Wood.
Wood, rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
I'm going Wood. I'm sticking with it. I'm doubling down. Jeremiah Wood.
Very uncharacteristic of Izzy to
Yeah.
go with Wood in this instance, but she's correct.
I'm killing it now.
There we go. See?
Yay.
See? It took you.
I'm just letting it be visceral. You know, Tori really had me fucked up. Paige walked in just a minute ago, and you know, I haven't told her yet, but she'll be.
You already had no problem.
Don't worry,
Yeah,
you got
apologize
Wood.
later.
It's all
Formally
good.
apologize.
All good with Jeremiah Wood. Well, Liana, we're not going very far. In fact, we're going to the next person that got booted on Cagayan right after Jeremiah. This is Jeffra.
Oh, Jeffra.
Jeffra from the
Jeffra.
Beauty Tribe. Was Jeffra's last name bland, dull, or trite?
Her name or her personality?
Okay, no, let's those.
Oh.
What was it? Can you read it? Bland, trite, and what?
Dull.
Boring? Okay, no. I don't think it's dull. Trite is not, but
That's
is bland the last name? Can you imagine having the last? I don't want to say anything in case that's right. Yeah, okay. We'll bland it up. Let's go
you
bland.
We got to go
We're
bland.
blanding it,
Yeah,
baby.
Yeah.
You want to say something now?
Yeah.
It's a great last name. I love that. Love that for her. That's great.
That is wild to me. Like, you'd think that would be a Survivor Sucks comment written about her in like 2009. that would not be an actual birth certificate last name.
You see casting,
Yeah.
you see her application and casting, you're like, stop pranking us, okay?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we're doing
Are you
serious.
are you in witness protection? Is this a pseudonym?
Yeah.
I mean,
I like
actually,
Jeffra.
if I were coming in, like, wouldn't you want to insist upon a name that would kind of hint, sort of like what Liana you were saying before about Jelinski tanking the journey purposely? Would you want to be like I'm Mike can't lie, you know? Call me Honest Bloom.
Is that like your like Mike Honest Bloom? Like that's like your middle name?
Yeah,
Is that what
exactly.
you want?
Or like
Okay.
maybe I think you try to make it your last name and pass it off as a character, because otherwise, then it's sort of just, well, you're trying too hard, you know? You're trying to make something happen. I think you pass it off as your last name.
I see. So then
like a
people will, like
modern day fair play. Like,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
back in the medieval times, often the reason why the name Smith was so popular as the last name is because it was after the number of Smiths that
Right.
would exist in
Mhm.
town. So, like, why not do this with Survivor?
okay. So
Yeah.
then what would your last name be? So it'd be like Mike Liar, and then it's like not a lot, not liar.
Mike
no liar.
Mike Nalliar. Mike
Mike
Nalliar
Nal-
could be like
Outlier.
NAHLAAR.
Izzy Royale.
Izzy Royale.
Oh, there we. Oh, that's good. I like that one. I was thinking
Royale?
like
I like that one a
friendly.
lot.
Royale.
Royale with an accent on the A,
Obviously.
Exactly.
or
It's
with an E at
French.
the end.
Okay.
Yeah, so Jeffra maybe was unintentionally doing that, and maybe that's the reason why she was
Smart.
the final beauty in Brains Beauty Brawn. All right,
Ooh.
we've got only a few left here. Izzy,
Let's go.
this is Bobby John.
What the hell's this guy? Oh, actually, I do remember Bobby.
I was gonna say,
Okay,
you
I'm
remember Michael
sorry.
Jackson Jefferson, and you didn't remember Bobby John.
No, I remember this. Okay, I remember this guy. Let's go. Hit me, Mike.
All right, so it's Bobby John's. Oh, well, are you strong or weak if I hit you? So Bobby John's last name, Pewters,
Oh God.
Drinkard, or Flaskman?
Bobby John. What's the
Liana
first
is,
one?
I wouldn't even call it a groan.
What was the first one?
It was Pewters, Drinkard, or Flaskman.
I'm going A.
You think it's
Pewters.
Bobby John Pewters? Sounds like a guy that would caddy at a country club, but is unfortunately not his last name. It's Bobby John Drinkard.
Drinkard. That's
Okay.
more appropriate. Is he also making up this last name to match his frat boy?
Bobby John is just Bobby John. I was like, Bobby John doesn't have a last name. Like, this is
Like
a trick
Cher?
question.
Like
Yeah, I don't know. He's just
Yeah, there we
Bobby
go.
John.
Stephanie, I have a question. How did your game change for the better when you joined Survivor Palau with Tom and
I will say
With
Titans
Bobby
vs.
and
Rebels is a little triggering with that middle-aged mafia, but that's for another.
There we go.
I know, right?
All right, Liana, back to you, and it's a throwback to you.
I can't
Okay.
wait.
This is Dirk.
Oh no!
You
It's
remember
him.
Dirk? Dirk was around from the very first season of Survivor. Fifth
Yep.
person voted out overall.
He looks like he punched his own face. Maybe.
But he's so strong.
Is that an
He's so
insult?
strong.
He looked like he punched his own face.
Oh,
Like,
that's an insult.
Yeah, like there's a difference between having a punchable face and a self-punchable face.
Like he pre-punched himself in
pre-punched.
preparation for
It's like
Jeff's
TSA
question.
pre-check.
He's like, I did it. I have proof. I am strong.
So Liana, let's see how strong this last name is, or your take on it. Is Dirk's
Okay.
last name Slew, Bin, or Took?
Okay, so I have a very, very like Slumdog Millionaire reason why I know
Oh,
this.
I'm so
and I think I
excited.
could have gotten it
Oh.
without the three, because Puya and I, when we were dating and we were long distance, we watched Borneo together.
Aw.
Like we would both hit play. Okay, we both hit play. We'd watch.
A modern love
And-
story.
I know, it's so cute, right? And so one of the inside jokes that came out from us watching Borneo together was Dirk Bin New.
Oh,
I don't I've been new. So Dirk Bin New for some reason ended up as an inside joke. So it's like it's Bin New. I don't know how to spell it, but it's like Dirk Bin New. But not
and
the
you,
new part.
And you,
just the
and you've
bin
been
part.
new the answer. Love wins the day
I've been
here.
new.
It is Dirk Bin New.
Yes. Dirk Bin New.
I've always said Dirk Bean, but I went with 3 past tense verbs here in B.
Oh,
'Cause I
okay.
thought if
Well,
I
how
was
do you
like Dirk Bean, Dirk Celery, or Dirk Radish.
Is that how he
Yeah.
spells it?
Is it
It's not
is it
Bean?
Yeah, I
Like
guess
said
it's
like
Bean. I don't
Bean?
know. I don't know. The man never announced his full first and last name on the show. I know Borneo was a
Okay.
little bit different, but I don't think they were doing a roll call there.
Jeff wasn't calling him
Yeah.
Bean.
I don't think he earned
A
that
Bean
status,
now.
unfortunately. All right. Izzy, mathematically you were out of the picture, but that doesn't mean I don't want you to Jelinski right now, okay? Don't give up. You still got one more question. This
Never give up.
is Leaf.
Oh, leave.
You have so much sentimentality for Survivor One World.
I don't know. It's like that was like the kookiest season. Like awful, Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Leaf.
let's see. Leaf, if you remember, phlebotomist, slept in a box. Those are the things
Yep,
we know about
slept in a
Leaf.
box.
Let's get a
Yep.
new thing. Leaf's last name.
Oh damn.
Is Leaf's last name Shipman, Manson, or Bundy?
Great. Leaf Shipman.
Leaf Shipman. Unfortunately, Shipman was the last name of one Dr. Death, a fate that your game suffered. It is Leaf Manson.
Oh,
Ah.
Could be worse. He could be
Manson.
Leaf Bundy. So at least
Yeah.
the least criminal of the 3 people whose last name he shares.
Dirk Bindi,
Dirk Bindi.
That didn't work.
And you know what? It worked incredibly so. We try to
Yeah,
make
we
things
love that
work
you
here.
tried
Oh,
and
thank
you
you
didn't
so much.
quit.
Exactly. Well, congratulations to Liana due to, like Binnu, from Slumdog to
Binnu.
Survivor. And here you are. Though, Izzy, like you said, admirable effort. It was 5-3 in the end. So listen,
Listen,
again,
I was never a closer, okay?
but
So
never shame the level and methods you get into the show, because there's
Yeah.
random games that can get thrown your way, new era style, that can't prepare you whatsoever.
you're right. I
Mhm.
have to add this to the
Right.
training regimen.
There we
We
go.
Dirk Binnu.
We
You know,
Dirk Binnu.
Flashcards, yeah.
All right. Well, to
You'll
finish
prep
things
for next time.
at the end of every B&B podcast, Bean and Bean podcast, we like to throw it over to our guests like an hourglass to crack things open and talk about a charity or cause that is important to them to highlight outside of all the nonsense we bring here on a weekly basis. Izzy, the ball is in your court. Any particular charity you want to highlight?
Yeah, I'll send people to Women for Women International. They are gathering supplies and money for urgent support for women in Palestine right now. So check that out. And yeah.
Very admirable cause. Amazing. This was amazing in general, Izzy. I am so happy that you got to come here. I'm so excited to like have you on in general. Again, like the passion that you have for all this excitement, entertainment, it is so B&B coded. So I'm so happy we were able to make things align and you were able to come on and talk about what was, for someone who contributed to a very fun, chaotic stage of a season of Big Brother, get to talk about a very fun, chaotic start to a season of Survivor.
I'm here for it. Like I like all the chaos. Let's play the game. You get one shot, so I'm here for it. I'm so excited for the rest of the season. And I love talking about this all the time, as you can tell. So I appreciate that, Mike.
Of course.
Thank you for having me.
Anything else you'd like to plug? People want to check you out on social media. Where can they find you?
Oh, snap. Yeah. I mean, Twitter, the best handle ever. I'm at Flute Dyke. Okay. Instagram, you could follow me at the more professional at Isabel Lepanto Gleicher. The content isn't necessarily more professional, but but I'm heading to Berkeley tomorrow for some shows. And I'm really excited, doing a bunch of traveling coming up, going to be in Berlin.
Oh, wow.
And spending some time in LA working on an opera. So I'm looking forward.
Look at you.
Yeah, I've just been back to it. So I'm excited for all of that. I will be missing some of the live Survivor stuff, but all good things. So
yeah, you're like Tiffany. You're a hustler. You're making it work, and that is amazing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, Liana, what would you like to plug? Because your reality TV machines are certainly humming along now to start off March.
Yes. So we had a very guest-filled episode of Drag Race for this week on the Drag Race pod. So Mon and I were joined by Zach Wurtenberger and Mama Wurtenberger. Steph came on to talk Drag Race with us. It was so surreal, very fun, very enjoyable. So I highly recommend checking that out. And then Puya and I are going to be back with The Masked Singer, which premieres this week. So we'll see whatever weird, wacky stuff that has in store. And Mike, I heard you got to talk to one of the panelists.
I had a conversation with Jenny McCarthy today.
Yep.
It was
Lucky you.
It was interesting. That interview will be up the day of the premiere. Yeah, there's sometimes where I'm like, sometimes I get to check out these very fun, wild maroonings and get to visit the set of Survivor and watch Jelinsky self-destruct. Sometimes I get to talk to Jenny McCarthy about The Masked Singer and her makeup brand. So it's all part of this incredible job that I get to be a part of, which also included getting to interview one David Jelinsky. I got to speak with him, of course, this week, which was so much fun. I am so happy that this guy is very much steering into the curve. He has been loving all the memes, everything that has come out, the more than several of them. He talks a lot, obviously, about everything that happened, gives his side of the story. According to him, Q was actually the one to suggest quitting, putting the Q in quit the sweat task. So we shall see if that is rebutted, but a lot of interesting perspective from this guy. I also, as I mentioned before, got to talk with Jeff Probst right after Tribal Council happened on this incredible set this season. And so I put that up as well right after the premiere. What I talked about before with the entire Matt chat stuff, that's also up in article form if you want it. So narratively painted by yours truly. We should have The Amazing Races coming out next week as well. Should have some content leading up to that. I'll have an interview with Phil Kogan. Then over on post-show recaps, we are starting to wind down that process. I'm doing some countdown shows this week. We're counting down the top 10 TV shows of the past 10 years. Easier said than done, but still a very fun job to do. And I'll bring it back around to Survivor because, Izzy, you mentioned Australian Survivor, which has just been like US.
So good.
US is a perfect fit. Like this 46 just kept the energy, the cracked energy going from what has been clearly being drunk in Samoa, because these people are acting drunk in Samoa. I was on with Shannon Gus. We talked for nearly 4 hours about just the absolutely wild week that was last week. And I'm also going to be I'm doing the exit press rounds this time around. Now that I've warmed back up into it, I am talking to most of the people that'll be booted this week. So that should be up probably about like on the US time, late Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. But very much encourage, if this wets your whistle in terms of just wild, funny, chaotic, messy Survivor gameplay, you have 18 episodes of Australian Survivor to check out that provides you that on a daily basis. And God, it is incredible.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's so good. I cannot recommend enough. Like, so good.
All right. Well, next week we will keep on keeping on, as we'll get into next week's episode. Liana, I know that you were talking before we came on of like, if the episode is any slice of what the preview indicates, we're going to just keep on this absolute crazy train. We have another 2-hour episode, the second one of the season. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to get into. And these people, again, I love them so much. They are unhinged.
Excellent.
There was no hinges. There's just a door frame to start this season. And so I cannot wait to see what walks in next.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to whatever this season has in store, from smelling sponges to being punched in the face. I'm ready for it.
Well, whatever happens next, you and I will be joined next week by the one and only Jordan Kalish. Speaking of inviting some chaotic, messy energy into things, always a good, wild time when Jordan comes on. And we'll see if the good, wild times continue with Survivor 46. Of course, all season long, we want your game ideas, no matter how ridiculous they are. Feel free to send them in, or either RHAP B&B, the letter B, the letter N, the letter B, at gmail.com. Hashtag RHAP B&B in social media. Again, we are not discriminatory. We will take anything that you can give us. We might turn them into something else, but we need the ingredients to bake some of this bread. And hopefully you enjoyed this batch this week. Next week, Liana and I will be getting into week 2 of Survivor 46 with Jordan Kalish. Thank you all so much for listening. I'm so happy to be back. This is going to be a very fun season of coverage, if the premiere is any indication. Until next week, everybody, we'll check you out on your next stay.